Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is a DIY where I upgrade a book cover into a more classic and antique book style. Disclaimer, I know there are more long-lasting and professional ways to do a project like this. My dad actually used to be a bookbinder, but I'm not. So this is an affordable DIY I did with things that I already had at home, and I actually love the way it turned out. So let's get started. I loved the original cover design, but it had water damage because I was reading on my deck and I left my book outside in the rain. And even after a lot of blow drying, it was still ruined. So I figured I'd give it a makeover. This cardboard box I had for my drill was the perfect width for this book, which was very serendipitous for me. But if you don't have a cardboard box the same width as your book, just bend it in certain spots to make it the same width as your spine for your book, and it should work perfectly the same. I also wanted the cardboard to be able to fold over the cover of my book, so leave some space for that as well when you're cutting out your cardboard pieces. So now I'm taking some Sculpey that I have. Sculpey is a clay that you bake in the oven so that it hardens up. You can use air dry clay, but I don't really have that kind of patience, so I'm using Sculpey to make the designs that I want my book spine and my book cover to have. So I'm just making these kind of ridges on the spine itself. The cover is really the fun part because you get to be a little more intricate with your design. I'm trying to do like some designs on the side, but something that's going to center the name of the book in the middle. But you could really just do whatever you want. And after you have your pieces shaped, you're going to bake them in the oven for as long as your clay instructions say to bake them for. When choosing a fabric for my cover, I wanted something that was going to be pliable or just something not too thick. See, this red fabric was kind of really thick, so it wouldn't mold around the clay pieces the way I wanted it to, but this green fabric was thin enough that the design I made underneath would be able to show through. So I'm just lining it up with my cover cardboard pieces, making sure I have enough to cover the edges of my book cover. Now that I think about it, this could be done with just like any decorative paper or even just paper macheing, or what's it called? Decoupaging, kind of. I think that would look pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just cutting out my fabric around my cardboard pieces. And I'm cutting out the piece of fabric that overlaps. I don't know, I don't regret this part, but it kind of just left a raw edge instead of some slack in the fabric that I could have folded over and hidden that raw edge. It's not really a problem, it's more just like an aesthetic thing. But if you want to leave a little bit of fabric so that you can fold it over so you don't just see the raw edge of the fabric, I guess I'm making this a bigger deal than it actually is. I used Mod Podge as my adhesive with the glass finish, which I regret the finish of the Mod Podge I used, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. But I'm just using a paintbrush to get it all over the book cover and in every crevice of the design I made with clay so that the fabric will stick nicely over it. To make sure that you can really see the design underneath, I'm just going through and pinching the fabric over those clay pieces so that it adheres. You could also use the end of a paintbrush or anything hard you have to just really get in those crevices and get glue and on that fabric so that it'll stick down. I also had a hairdryer going as I was doing this so that it would dry and kind of just freeze where I wanted it to be. And I really wanted gold detailing on this book, so in order for my gold paint to stand out, I just went ahead and painted all the ridges white first, just so that the gold had a base to cling on to. I'm adding the gold finishing touch, and when it dried, I went ahead and added the name of the book and the author, and it's finished. This was so easy and so much fun to make. I literally cannot wait to do this to more books. The only thing I regret is that in some areas the glue seeped through and dried dark in some spots, so I think next time I'll try a different adhesive or maybe just using less glue. But I'm still obsessed with how this turned out, so let me know if you try this or if you've ever done anything like this, and feel free to like this video and subscribe for future DIYs.